Yo ho ho, and welcome to Volume 71 of the One Piece Virgin Eggheads Book Club podcast, covering chapters 701 to 711. But don't tell Apu I am Simeon Jimmy, joined as always, or Monkey D. Jones, joined as always by your co-vice captain of the measly crew. It's Eggy V. Rodriguez!
That's right, and speaking of gas stations, you can call me Cheesy Pepper Jack because I'm coming in stuffed and hot, folks.
And I'm embarrassed. I can hear my neighbor shoveling snow right outside the window. I think he just heard me scream all that fucking nonsense. But you know what? He's going to have to live with it because we're here to discuss the opening full volume of Dressrosa, which... I don't want to influence Eggy's opinions in any way, but... I feel like I was vindicated immediately in thinking that Dressrosa is supreme Kino tier One Piece. It's just immediately amazing, and I have no complaints at all. And I love every single new character and plot line, and I'm genuinely so happy that we made it to Dressrosa after Fishman Island and Punk Hazard. But Eggy, do you have a hat opinion, or should we go to your top of mind?
Yeah, I'll give a hat opinion real quick.
Oh my god.
See, when you're saying, oh, I'm vindicated, I'm thinking it's the cynicism in me. Of all these years, it's these elitists out here. Oh, there's Coliseum, tournament. Oh, every anime's got to have a tournament, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I don't give a flying heck, folks. Oh my goodness, I'm a sucker for them tournaments. Kino!
If anything, I'm disappointed by the style of tournament. I'm not really a big fan of... wow, they're shoveling really loud, actually. I think you probably could hear that at this point. Maybe we should record this later. They're being very obnoxious. I think he's doing it on purpose. I'm not gonna lie.
There's a small hint of it coming through, to be honest.
It's very fucking loud. I think you can probably hear me whispering right now. So maybe we're gonna take a 5-minute break, and we'll be right back, folks.
Welcome back to the Caribou Revolution, my fellow revolutionaries.
Yeah, most people probably, if their podcast was ruined 3 minutes in, would just start from the beginning. But you know what? Fuck it, guys. We ball. I want the good folks at home to know the kind of bullshit we deal with here in the snowy states. Loud-ass neighbors got a shovel. It is what it is. My point I was trying to make, I'm not a big fan of Battle Royale, every man for himself. Let's have 180 people just fighting each other. When I heard that One Piece was going to have a tournament arc, I wanted some 1v1 fights, because I'm a big fan of a good 1v1 strategy fight. How do my powers compare to his, and what can I... But no, that's not really what this is. That's like the closest thing to disappointment that I can find, though, in your hat opinion here, Eggy. But are we ready for your top of mind?
Well... Let's see, I guess,
Eggy was not ready to come back from the break. He even had an extra 15 minutes and he's not ready.
Well, I guess honestly, this is what it is. Sometimes I have these weeks, and maybe I feel like this is fine, because I think we established in the last volume this was going to be a fight for the Flame Fruit. So that was pretty up there, and we're just kind of going on a continuation there. So there's a game that I had played before, and I was very keen to never spoil myself in anything in this game. It's called One Piece Burning Blood. And so I was like, well, I don't know why Luffy's called Lucy here. That's like, he's like an old man, and his name's Lucy. Something that's like some old man that's completely irrelevant.
Yeah, why would his disguise as an old man have a English female voice, or a name? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so, to be honest, that probably was up there for me. I knew also, I guess I could say this, just I'm going to keep it real. I would scroll over this character, Bartolomeo.
Bartolomeo.
I was like, yeah, but I don't know who that is, so I'm not going to, I'm just going to like not look at him when he comes up on screen. And I guess maybe my hat was a little more on the top of my head than I thought, because on one hand, it's that I appreciate any kind of Coliseum or any kind of tournament arc, but the fact that we're gathering all these people from all around the world, and this is like when you go to the beach and you have at least I did this when I was a kid. You have like a strainer, right? You like strain all the sand and come up with like all the cool looking rocks. That's like what I feel like this represents for me. Like we're cutting the fat here. This is a tournament of the world. I mean, well, a little on the nose there, maybe. I'm thinking about how DBZ has the world tournament. This is a tournament in the new world of like all the greatest fighters who have these multiple hundreds of millions of berries bounties. Everybody is out there seeking this powerful flame fruit to enrich their own nations. I guess just the epicness of it, even though it's such a wide-reaching thing to say, but it's not even any particular individual I feel like that's involved in the tournament. But just on one hand, I love tournaments, and on the other hand, it's just this great bringing forth of it's really a Luffy style buffet. You know, he loves to eat. This is like I'm eating here, and all these incredibly powerful fighters and everything they have going on. Just even being there, even showing up and being a part of this function. But if I want to be a little more specific, yeah, the fact that Lucy turned out to just be Luffy in a very poor disguise.
Like a Master Roshi beard to disguise himself. Yeah. Like, why would this 19-year-old have a full white beard? That's not... And all 5 of them do. And I like that the cover art is an image from the panels of this volume, but in that panel in the volume, they didn't have the facial hair, but Oda added it. I guess he just liked the pose of all of them. And yeah, strange cover art, because it kind of doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and also, I was just at the bookstore where they had a Luffy action figure. They have the Dressrosa Luffy as its own variation. It's like sold separately. And I like the sunflower shirt. I feel like it just enhances the Roshi vibes. Obviously, Master Roshi was well established by the time that this was published.
Oh, of course.
Maybe, yeah, so some Roshi homage here.
Yeah, definitely. Eggy, here's a real top of mind. I think I found my new favorite joke in all of One Piece, because it's not just like a comedy gag. Oda is weaving in some real satire of like the culture that I'm trapped living in, and it's going to take a lot of setup, but I've been through this part of the story 4 or 5 times, and this just now clicked, like exactly what he was writing, and it fucking busted my gut. First of all, homeboy Bellamy is back, Eggy. What was your reaction to seeing Bellamy?
Well, actually, I guess it was like I didn't feel so particularly strongly about it until that one thing that he said that I'm sure you know what I'm getting at immediately. That
he went to the Sky Island?
Yeah, and he's not so specific about it. He kind of plays vague with Luffy about it, like, oh, yeah, I mean, maybe I was up there, probably the only time I think in this volume that I felt an immediate sense of dread, because, I love them Sky people. I love everything to do with Skypiea. It's still been holding on pretty strong in my tier list, as I recall, throughout everything. And so to think that Bellamy went up there in his new, more powerful state and was really just... wreaking havoc is something I don't even want to consider as a reality.
Well, thankfully, the decks of the world showed every character around the world 2 years after the time skip, and they were all just fine. I'm guessing Bellamy had long gone since then, so I would not be too worried about it.
That's very true.
Anyway, so Bellamy's here. We've got these Muslim characters, Jeet and Abdullah. And what does Bellamy do? He takes knives and stabs their feet into the ground. Then he grabs the top of their head, like by the top of their mouth, and springs and snaps their jaw and their back, like over him as their feet are trapped on the ground. This is basically something straight out of like Berserk, the most brutal attack perhaps in One Piece history. Like Oda has never taken. It's usually cartoony, but this is like viscerally, objectively terrifying and horrific. And I think the announcer says, such cruelty, such ferocity, these words were invented for him. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty fucking accurate. This is the most brutal thing I've ever seen in One Piece. The very next scene, Bartolomeo is pissing into the water. And the announcer says, this is the most indecent act in the history of the Colosseum. That's what broke me. Like, the most horrific violence you've ever seen, and everybody's more offended by a man taking a piss. And is that not American society? We love ultra hyper violence. But your flaccid penis was exposed because you had to pee on a tree? Lock him up. He's a sexual deviant. He's a predator. A society like Oda I think is very actively mocking people who are offended by sex but not violence. And I loved that moment.
True, and I also felt about that this sort of predisposition that is referenced multiple times throughout the volume, that Bartolomeo is like the most awful, monstrous. Like, we were talking about how Eustace Kid would shoot civilians. Bartolomeo is spades above in absolute just degenerate freakishness. And so it's kind of like anything he's doing, even if it seems very minimal compared to other things that we're experiencing, it's going to be perceived as more sickening and more heinous, like no matter what he's doing. So I thought maybe that might be a little bit of a part of it also.
And let's keep talking about Barto while we're here, because for a brand new character, we sure do get a whole lot. Had you already established from the video game what his devil fruit power was?
Nope, I will say that I was accurate in my statement that I did not know anything about him, and I intentionally evaded any kinds of educating or any kinds of perceiving, selecting, even if there was a fight in like this bounty mode or something that included him whatsoever. I intentionally did not select that fight. I kept myself as in the dark as possible to maintain my virginity to the maximum extent, just like in real life.
It feels to me like all of this round B of fighting is just to show how powerful his barrier fruit is, because we have this guy, I don't remember the king's name, but he has something called the King Punch, and
it's like Elizabetto 2 or something.
Elizabetto the second probably, but if he focuses for a full hour and his men protect him, he could deliver a punch, a one punch man that would defeat even a Yonko. We're talking Big Mom, Kaido, Shanks. They would evidently be defeated if this attack hit them. And for Bartolomeo to just, nope. His barrier is so strong, it can resist that attack, whereas Kaido could not. That is massive. I have to imagine this King Punch is like, it's got to be infused with Conqueror's Hockey or something to be so devastating. And the idea that even this powerful hockey is no match for a simple devil fruit.
Yeah, that's, I know we were talking about the OP fruit in regards to Law, but like, it reminds me of an old meme that me and my friends had in high school, which was, we would recite like video game attacks at each other, like in the halls. And they'd be like, oh, I cast magic missile, whatever. And you go, miss. I think it was a reference to maybe Morrowind. There was like some character, these characters would get glitched to where like the character would be on screen, but they weren't registered as existing. So like any attack you did to them would automatically trigger as a miss. So it just kind of gives me like some flashbacks from the olden days in that regard. Just like you could literally anything have the most incredible, powerful attacks of all time, and it's just like
barrier. And this is a man who already has a devil fruit power, so we know he's not getting the ace fruit for himself, this flame fruit. And he says he's doing it for somebody. Do we have any predictions? We have Caribou with a mysterious somebody he's working for, and now Bartolomeo as well. Do you have any inclination who he might be trying to get the fruit for?
Well, my first thought was this is a tournament that's being organized by Doflamingo, so I would almost certainly feel like you should have somebody working on the inside. And Doflamingo is very
That's what Bellamy, I think, was supposed to be. Because the announcer said this is Bellamy's second chance. Like, he was making Bellamy's private failure everybody's business.
But that's the thing, is that he is, by putting all that out there, that doesn't seem to me like the kind of that's not black market Joker to me, to be like, oh, by the way, everybody, here's his story, da da da. That's like a perfect misdirection. If I'm like so when I saw that, that was what my mindset was that, yeah, he's gonna, let's put the light on this guy. Meanwhile, the real guy who's actually the inside man, who's working to some ends, is going to be doing what he does in the background. That's how I read it.
So hypothetically, Bartolomeo wants to win the fruit that Doflamingo is putting up on Doflamingo's behalf, and the last we see of him, he overhears Bellamy talking to Luffy and saying Straw Hat. Now, if Barto is Luffy's enemy, and we know that even the King Punch does nothing against the barrier, what can Luffy do against this guy?
Well, I guess my first thought would be that he would be able to use some sort of rebound technique. Now, he can't leave the ring. That's standard anime tournament rules. But maybe if he could, like, I'm not sure what he would grab onto, to be honest, but if something that he could use, I mean, they're going to have the Battle Royale, right? So they're going to have some other people around. I would say maybe focus on Bartolomeo as your primary target. Go, like, spring out, like, grab on somebody, like out to, like, come hit with a ricochet, but maybe, like, use that as some kind of leverage to be able to redirect that to maybe his backside as he's defending against something else. Because we see Bartolomeo, there's a panel, I know, I can't remember which chapter it's in, but essentially everybody's just fighting over him and all killing each other while he's just, like...
Just hanging out?
Just laying on the ground, just, like, chilling. Which is also how I win fighting game tournaments as well. Like, I always play, like, the evasive...
Just dodge while they all kill each other?
I hug the side of the screen constantly until there's, like,
if we ever play 8-man Smash Bros, I'm hunting you down, motherfucker. I'm not letting you hold all your stock.
It'll go, yeah, any game or tournament that I played that had multiple rounds, it would be like, I win the first round, and then it's just, like, chased me around ever since after.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't let Eggy win again, that son of a bitch.
That's why I'm very good at what dodge frames or whatever in that game.
I guess to end on our Barto discussion, do you like him? Is he going to be like a high on your tier list, or is he the wrong kind of villainous figure?
You know, there's something about, like, an unrepentant freak that I could really appreciate. Like, his whole appearance is just so ghoulish. He's got kind of like the ogre orc kind of, like, eye shape. He's got, like, the big teeth and all this, all these horrible deeds that have been associated with him. Like, there's just something about that I can, and the nose ring, the tribal tattoo, everything. He just oozes like a provocation, like he's just really an insidious person. Now, I think that I could appreciate more than somebody like Spondum or one of these two-faced kind of guys that's like smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. Backstabbers. Yeah, like that. Just saying.
Well, I'm excited to see where the Barto storyline takes us. Eggy, we've got so much going on. Should we go through this, like, chronologically or by character? What are you feeling here? And we don't have any comments or new members today, so we're skipping that, just plowing on through the volume.
Well, something before, Dressrosa is really a delectable meal, even before we get to Green Pit and everything like that. Like, I don't know, there's just something about it. It just feels so comfortable. Like,
you wish you had a toy that was alive and was your friend.
That's right. I mean, I feel like I'm spoiled by technology nowadays. I feel like, oh, this is, when I was like, if I'd read this when it was published, it would have been like so spectacular. Now we have like AI Furbies and stuff that can like know your DNA and know your blood type.
Dressrosa's real in real life already? I could have a toy tin soldier skating alongside me with one leg?
Now, I couldn't tell you where to get it, but I'm thinking that, the pieces are certainly coming together more than ever before. But before we get into all of that, something that I did take note of here, Law is talking to Nami and presenting her with a Weaver card, which we haven't had since Ace. I don't think we've seen any in the post-time skip.
Lola gave Nami one in Thriller Bark, but yeah, maybe in the post-time skip we haven't heard so much about them.
Talking about the island of Zoo, which I think was where the wasn't that where the
That's where Law's
Samurai.
yeah, they wanted to go there, and Law's crew just happens to be there anyway.
Right.
Is that a good sign if narratively he's giving Nami this piece of paper that takes her to the next island? Are we expecting Law to be surviving Dressrosa if he's doing this so early on? Like, it seems like he's not going to be reuniting with Nami if this needed to happen right now.
I think that I didn't have any contemplation to the contrary at this point in the first chapter here. As we went on and there was more going on, and I got to be exposed to some of the combatants in this tournament, some of their allegiances, and just kind of the overall atmosphere, not to speak anything of the twist, of course. I kind of strength behind him at first, but I'm like, I don't know. If he's really getting to 1v1s, I mean, I don't want anything that's a battle to the death where he's going to end up losing, because obviously he's a very, preferential character overall. But I don't know if the op fruit is going to be the real ace up the sleeve compared to some of the other things that we're getting exposed to here, to be honest.
Yeah, were you expecting, when you say twist, what twist are you talking about here?
Well, let's just say allegedly there's a certain man who said he tucked tail and he abdicated his position, but we hear at the end here that Doflamingo, he is still a warlord. F what you heard, dog.
And he's very rapidly approaching Greenbit, where Law is like defenseless with his Caesar in tow. And it seems that this new admiral, some blind man who loves roulette, Fujitora, is also in the vicinity. And if Doflamingo is still a warlord of the sea, I guess the admiral would be allies with Dofi. So if you're Law and you're up against an admiral and a warlord, is there any way to survive that?
Well, also considering that Fujitori, he seems to also have an area of effect kind of attack, because when he's getting rinsed and lied to at the roulette table, he literally just creates like an endless whole crater that instantly swallows everybody up in total permanent death. So if Law, his op fruit is also what I would call like an area of effect, where he's got his quote-unquote room where he then has this impact over. I feel like Fujitori could just go, that's what your room is, and it's right here. The entire ground just disappears, and there's nothing for him to get a hold of.
Yeah, what do you think Fujitori's power is? The whole fruit?
Well, I don't. We've got, Whitebeard had Quake. I feel like Crater could really be something. I don't know how you would, because a crater wouldn't be an endless drop. I don't know. I think any such power that could have a endless depth would be probably not existing right now, because I don't think that anything could counter that if you could just blow a hole through the other side of the earth.
Is that what happened at Annie's lobby? Is somebody used this crater fruit?
I guess it would track. I mean, we haven't seen anything that would indicate that Fujitori had just recently been promoted, I don't think, since the time skip. I guess you could say with the
well, he certainly was not at Marineford for whatever reason, so hopefully we get an explanation on that.
Yeah, and even if he was hiding out in some background area, I think he would need to have been present in order to apply this attack. So.
Okay, well, we jump to Fujitori. Should we stay in this opening scene where we heard it from Buffalo in the previous volume, I just want to go to the casino, and that's right. We immediately get to see the casino here. Have you ever played roulette with a blind man, Eggy?
I don't think I have, but what I have done, I've played a lot of video roulette, because they'll have ones where it's like a digital screen, but they'll have a physical, pop out and, spin around. I've also played at a very high-end establishment in the Northeast U.S. that had, the guy in the white shirt and, the red vest, and he, spins it with the cane or whatever. And it's all, solid wood. It's very fancy. And in those instances, they call out the number, red 22, or red, whatever I don't have those number color patterns memorized off the top of my head. I just kind of bet what I like to bet, but things like that, they'll call it out and let it be known, and they wouldn't stiff you. This is a little bit of an illegitimate operation. I think Mr. Buffalo probably should avoid it. In all honesty, look for something a little more, fair. If just a little bit anyway.
In the storytelling here, Luffy assists this random blind old man, says, hey, you're all ripping him off, that's no good. And Fujitora says to Luffy, I think it'd be better for both of us if I didn't reveal my identity to you. Now, if this blind Navy guy is under the impression that Luffy maybe has like an honest heart, do you see that playing into the events of the story, maybe in a Smoker-esque way? Or is Fujitora going to have to just, let bygones be bygones and say, hey, you're a pirate scum criminal, I'm taking you down no matter if you help me at gambling or not?
I feel like the way that Fujitora is drawn and depicted, it feels like he's got a little bit more like grit to his depiction. Like other people can be a little bit more cartoonish, a little more simple. It's like there's just something about like with his scars. I feel like every time that Oda's drawing him, he's kind of just got a little something more to him. He stood out to be with, I don't know if it's because he's got like the whites of his eyes that kind of give him a little bit more of an edge or something, along with the scar.
I think all the admirals are based on real Japanese actors. So maybe like Oda just really wants these people to seem real and intimidating as opposed to a cartoon.
Okay, I'm not sure if I did know that, so I suppose that would make sense. I also liked how one of these guys at the roulette table, he's doing, I don't know if this is where this soy jack animation comes from, but he's like got the open mouth and he's like doing this and like pointing at Fujitori and like, I've seen soy jack do that before, so I don't know if that's where that comes from. Just, it was very stark and very reminiscent, but I feel like it's hard for me to say right now necessarily because we have had enough of Smoker, at least so far in as with where we're at in the first chapter here. We've had enough of Smoker to kind of discern, his ability to empathize or to kind of let the Straw Hats go under his radar for the greater good, maybe in certain situations. Whereas I feel like maybe Fujitori is saying, oh, let's keep my identity secret for both of our sakes, because maybe he wouldn't have any qualms about, oh, so you're Straw Hat Luffy and I'm a Navy Admiral? Well, now I have to kill you here. I have to go at you like right now because
he's taking mercy by not letting them like tell each other who they are, because his duty would be too powerful over his own sense of justice.
The omission gives him that credibility of that's what I'm looking for. Plausible deniability.
That's
about
right.
Luffy.
That's one of those phrases I always forget as well. I just need to one day just memorize every turn of phrase so I stop looking so stupid all the time, but it's never going to happen. I want to talk about the Caribou cover story here, because I made a big prediction that I've never seen anybody say, that the old lady might be Kaido's, did I say mom? Well, we find out here that there's a revolutionary named Gabaru who looks identical to Caribou. Perhaps just a coincidence, just one of those lucky Prince and the Pauper type of things, who knows? So perhaps this old lady thought Caribou was her grandson, and that's why she was treating him this way. And I don't think that this necessarily disproves my theory. If Gabaru is the grandson, maybe Kaido is the father of Gabaru. The real question is, do Kaido and Gabaru resemble each other even a little bit? Because if they even look slightly alike in any way, my theory can still stand. And we don't know what Kaido looks like yet.
Right. Well, we got a little taste of his silhouette. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm not going back to reference that particular chapter, but I feel like he had a bit of an almost like a lion-esque sort of silhouette to him, if I recall. Maybe I can't remember if that was the hair or what, but Gabaru, he's definitely got something like Gabaru and Caribou. Gabaru looks like the upstanding, healthy version, and Caribou is like if he suffered defeat in battle and got like addicted to heroin or something. He's all greasy and has like the deranged swirly eyes. He's balding.
He's all swampy.
That's right.
There's like a proletariat riot because they think that Caribou is their returned revolutionary leader, Gabaru. And is this a giant robot? The thing that's like attacking all the proletariat is an 18 on his shoulder pads, kind of like Frankie would. Whose giant robot is destroying all the civilian uprisings?
Well, he looks like there's an enemy character in the World of Warcraft games, at least in the old original ones, called Harvest Reaper, which is like a scarecrow robot that defends the fields. So that's like, I don't know if it was the hat. I think it might have been like the lines at the mouth. Something about it just made me feel a similarity to that. I'm not sure what I mean, of course, I'm thinking the Android 18 from DBZ. That's coming to mind right away. Wouldn't really have any relevance here, but when I'm seeing a robot attacking, it is what it is.
And I'm mostly asking, is that a robot? Because I can't really tell what the fuck I'm looking at. Like, surely that's not just a dude. But these cover stories end with the robot attacking the old lady. Is Caribou going to do the right thing and protect her, or is he going to run away like she told him to?
Well, if I want to be honest to Caribou's character, I could definitely see him being like, yeah, whatever. Hey,
peace, people.
Gotta look out for number one, you know? But at the same time, there could be a point of pride, like, oh, you're just going to swing at me like that? You know, what's up? But he does look awfully terrified. He doesn't look like he's exactly ready to engage necessarily. Here's what I could think, is that maybe if this is a robot who is on the side of those who are crushing the common people, and they see Caribou as this great revolutionary leader, he could probably be like, every other time that the government gets their hands on a great revolutionary leader, and be like, hey, so how much do we have to pay you to shut up? You know, like, where can we move you to out of the public eye and let us get back to what we do?
And if you don't take our deal, we're going to Charlie Kirk you and then have your wife go and say how great we are, even though we killed you.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are some different, like, we've seen him run to save his own skin multiple times, so that's definitely on the table.
I mean, he was willing to, like, abandon his own blood brother for dead. There's no way this old lady's getting any mercy, I don't think.
Just smiling and waving as, like, his brother has, like a foot, like, crushing his face and, like, being murdered.
Yeah, after his brother saved him from crucifixion.
Right.
Okay, Eggy, I need to get your take on the ultimate fate of this flame fruit, because Jesus Burgess, one of Blackbeard's top guys, won the Group A bout, and that's got to be the darkest timeline possible, is that Ace is dead because of Blackbeard, and then they're gonna reap Ace's fruit for his crew. So that's possibility A. Barto wins Group B, and we don't know what master he serves, but he wants to give the fruit to somebody. Hypothetically, let's say Luffy wins. Who knows? He's a main character, maybe he'll win. Who would you like to see him give that fruit to? Because Frankie said, fuck no.
Well, I think, I know we covered this a little bit, I think, last volume, just supposing. I think I would say that I would stick it with Sanji still, because I feel like he's got those flambe-based kicking attacks. I feel like Zoro, you know, he's got the blades speak for himself. He's going to be able to continue progressing with his sword work. He's also going to be able to continue to progress and come into possession of some of these greater weapons in that regard. And Chopper's going to learn more about medicine. Nami's going to learn more about weather. Usopp's going to get more different projectiles. I think that if we're looking for where Sanji can grow from there, I think that having a devil fruit would probably be helpful for him. And that maybe you could use that in small amounts to, you know, get an oven lit up or something, you know? I don't know. It might be a little too strong, but...
So is that still your official prediction of where this fruit is going?
I would say if Luffy wins it and he... if it's not that, I would say probably he would find a way to either bring it to Ace's grave and put it in there in some kind of... impenetrable state, so it can't be taken and used for evil. So if he destroys it or anything like that, it's just going to end up being reborn somewhere else and then be another problem again. So, or maybe he would find a way to carry it with him or bring it along with the crew, but then that would put a target on their back. I do feel like, Sanji just taking the fruit would probably be the best overall circumstances to keep people from hunting it, and that he'd be able to protect it, because he's obviously going to protect Sanji's life as a part of his crew, and Sanji could have some new tools at his disposal, so I think that would be the right thing.
I thought it was very sweet of Luffy to offer it to Frankie immediately. He's like, I don't want anybody else to have my brother's fruit. And you think of the history of Frankie and Luffy, like 2 years ago, they were mortal enemies, trying to kill each other. Mm-hmm. And now he's such a blood brother. He's willing to give his literal brother's fruit. Or I guess not so literal, but I wish Frankie would have been down to clown, because how often is he swimming anyway? Like, he weighs probably 2 tons. I don't think he even can swim. And if you're made of metal, can't he just install fucking like an engine in his feet and have that propel him through the water? He doesn't need the ability to swim.
Yeah, I don't know if the devil fruit would have that sort of like clause baked into it, like, the jetpack feet don't work just because they just don't. Okay.
Yeah, if Luffy can be in a barrel and float, is Frankie's body not just a barrel connected to his skin? Like, does the fruit affect the non-organic parts of your body? I don't know.
Well, in fact, that's all the more reason that he should take it, because we could go drop him in a lake. Hey, don't worry, buddy, we got you. We'll rescue you. We just need to test something out real quick. Let's see what's going on. They could, if they want to go against the limits that have been alleged to them, they could try and figure out some ways to evade that. And Frankie's supposed to be a big scientist, man. He should be willing to, he already turned himself into a guinea pig of sorts anyway to get himself back up and functioning, and he's really into that sort of thing. So it is a little bit questionable, but...
Yeah, his excuse of, I want to be able to swim, I don't think it adds up. I can't recall him swimming at any point in the story because he's a giant robot. He should be avoiding the water regardless.
While we're predicting Sanji real quick, I just want to give one little thing here. I was at a Asian supermarket recently where they had one-piece cookie packs that contained a special sticker, and since we're talking about Sanji... Oh, actually, is this a spoiler alert? I don't know. He's got some fire coming out of his foot right there. I would say that's not a spoiler to me, because I thought that would be pretty normal.
I mean, in Annie's lobby, he just uses friction to light his foot on fire. I don't think he even needs the fruit.
Yeah, so I didn't take that as a spoiler when I pulled it out of my delicious cookie wafer pack. Nice little sticker. Appreciate it. Shout out to Asia for that. But I still think, it would match what he's brought to the table so far. It's not like not so out of character for him, I feel like. So,
well, should we cover the Sanji storyline while we're on him here? Because he joins Team Luffy and Zoro, but everybody's getting all separated. Some fairies are bothering Zoro, stealing his sword, and everybody's all separated. But Sanji comes across a bodilicious woman. I don't know, bodilicious, is that the word? She got some big mammary glands, you could say. Violet.
That's right.
And the women of Dressrosa are very passionate, and if you cheat on them, they will stab you. And they say the more beautiful, the more violent they'll become. And she
ain't that the truth?
She hires, asks Sanji to go kick some dude in the face. Or is this a genuine love connection by the end of this, Eggy? Do we see Sanji and Violet actually having a genuine character relationship here?
Well, I just want to give one other thing to her character as well. When we're introduced to her, she's kind of doing like some kind of like Spanish salsa type of dance. She's got the rose, and she's doing like things that I would associate with like Spanish dance. And they say that Spanish women, they're the ones that have the most high temper anyway. So you have the Dressrosa temper, you have the temper of this beautiful woman that is used to probably getting what she feels like getting, and then you have the Spanish influence on there. So really, she's a real triple threat.
She's a white Latina. That's the scariest thing you could be.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah, I guess I kind of covered the whole storyline there, but any thoughts on where Sanji and Violet is going here?
Well, I have to say, I think that the fact that we've reached over 700 chapters in, obviously Sanji wasn't there from number 1, but for all the time that we've had Sanji, and he hasn't been, how how would you say, influenced, I guess, by a beautiful woman to kill somebody else. I feel like I don't remember that happening before, so it's quite astounding, really, that it took this long.
And Eggy froze up a little bit. Let's see if he ever comes back. Welcome to the Solo Sholo, folks. Okay, you're back, Eggy. Say that again.
Okay. Just for the record, my bars were at 100%, so I know what that was about.
This is probably me.
Anyhow, I thought, the fact that we've had Sanji be a part for so many hundreds of chapters and he's not been utilized by a woman to kill somebody else just on the fact that it's a woman asking him and he does anything that women want because he loves them so much. Feels like it's been a long time coming, and with that being said also, I feel like it's probably going to at least get to the point where he would be able to kill the person. I don't know, there might be something that dissuades him at the last moment. Maybe he figures out that it's not in his best interests.
But he kicks like some guy out of a guard tower. I thought that was what she wanted him to do. Was that just a step in the plan?
Well, I suppose that might have been, yeah.
Well, here's a question. We're building up a lot of Sanji's repressed sexuality in the last 100 or so chapters. He spent 2 years on Transgender Island, and it motivated him to learn how to fly so he could get away from them. We go to Fishman Island. He's horny for the mermaids, nosebleeds out the wazoo. We go to Punk Hazard. He's molesting Nami inside of her own body. And now we're in Dressrosa, and there's an actual adult, sexy woman who seems interested in Sanji. Could you see Sanji having to choose between his crew and a big-tittied woman and actually struggling with what to do?
I would hate to say it. I really would, because I have a higher opinion of him than that, but also I feel like there is definitely enough that has been laid out on the table. I mean, he is even unconsciously dying more or less at Fishman Island just for even seeing beautiful women. I mean, that's like No Nut November times 30 years or whatever or something. I don't know.
No Nut 15, 14?
Actually, you know what? I mean, once again, I have a high opinion of Sanji as a loyal part of the Straw Hat crew. It would be one of the last people who would ever cross my mind as somebody who would be split off by his passions. But, people have said that, like, back in 800 BC, a woman would flash her ankles and like 500 ships would launch to go like kill an entire country because that was such an incredible rush and such an incredible thing to see, to be exposed to. So yeah, when you have a very passionate, fiery woman dancing around and looking so bodacious, as you said, having everything that he's looking for coming up on him and just asking us one little favor, just a little violence. I mean, that's everything he knows at this point. I mean, even back on the Barati, he was busting them heads on the regular. So I feel like, because I mean, Nami's a part of the Straw Hat crew, right? And I think Nami or Nico Robin, they've still got to have some points up because it's a familiarity. He's more comfortable maybe with them, no matter how hot these chicks are. So I don't think he's going to flip. I feel like he would do a lot. He might even get himself in a predicament, but I don't think that he would willingly, consciously flip on the gang.
If she offers him pussy, he's not saying, okay, sorry guys, I'm leaving the crew. I got to stay here and get some.
He might omit him. I could see that, like, not being a part of the fight if it's not absolutely necessary to the survival and victory of his own teammates. Like, if he could, in theory, step out and there's pussy on the table waiting for him, I'm sure he would find any reason and every reason, but still not a willing, malicious thing. And just kind of like, well, hey, you guys got to step it up. I mean, sometimes you call in sick to work. It is what it is,
Would you like to talk about Greenbit and all the wondrous new characters we could find there? Oh, if I've been jealous of any One Piece character, it's got to be Leo.
The Gilligan's Travels of Nico Robin being explored.
Before you know that the attitude of the Tontatas is like a gullible, kind-hearted race, there is some suspicious dialogue, like, what's under her clothes? We're on to search. Like, oh my god, are they molesting this woman? Oh no, they're just teeny tiny and it's stupid.
Yeah, I had to say, I think probably as much as anything, Oda's decision to kind of the dialogue here that we're getting from the little people of Greenbit and the way that it's being written to be like a 5-year-old child is trying to spell the words out, like very phonetically inclined and or like not quite accurate as what we would know to be like the English spelling. Yeah, I mean, I warmed up to it after, by the end of the volume, but at first I was like reading it, I'm like, oh, Tuesday. I feel like I'm reading like what a British person says, like, oh, Tuesday I'm gonna go eat the whatever, I guess that's the number one word I know for British people.
Tuesday, yeah. Yeah, thankfully they're not British. They're, I guess, it's supposed to be written like children, like you've been saying. Innocent children. If I'm crawling in between Nico Robin's giant breasts, it's not out of sexual hangups. I'm searching for weapons. and we find out that the fairy that stole Zoro's sword is just one of these Tontatas, and for some reason they're all hunting and collecting weapons and clothes. Do we have any idea what they might be up to? Because why would a 5-inch tall person need Zoro's giant sword?
Well, we talk about the clothes, then we talk about, so we have here devil fruit powers among the Tanata. That's Leo, I think, that has the so-so, but he calls it the so-so sorcery, where he sews Nico Robin into the ground before she immediately says, oh, I'm not bad, and then he just lets her go immediately. But maybe perhaps this fruit could be used for more than just a defensive measure. Maybe they could... I mean, I'm just going to tell you where my mind goes. I'm thinking the old, 2 kids in a trench coat trick trying to get into an R-rated movie. The Tonatas they're using so-so fruit, like put together like a big old transformer of themselves together and all like link up with a weapon. And like, I guess I can't really enter the tournament at this point, but I've seen many a tournament arc in many an anime and manga series where, oh, well, I guess somebody dropped out at the last second. Oh, what do we do? And then all of a sudden the Tonatas all show up as, 100 Tonatas in a trench coat and say they're a fighter, and somehow they all can, work it out. This is just where my mind goes after a certain level of exposure to certain things, certain, hints that could possibly be picked up that way. That's where my mind goes, so that's what I'll let the people be knowing about.
Okay, possibly the Tontatas want to be like Vincent from, I think his name was Vincent in BoJack Horseman, just a bunch of kids in a trench coat to go enter a tournament. Perhaps that could be. I don't know why they want to collect weapons for that, though, because you're not allowed to bring weapons into the Coliseum. Only what they provide. So who knows, but that's not the only faction that's planning something, because the little tin soldier is talking to Frankie, and I guess they're planning some sort of revolution of their own, right? What did he say? Like they want to... I think they're going after Doflamingo.
Yeah, like overthrowing the government, basically, to rights for toys. I guess I could see where they would want that, because it's sort of brought to our attention right from the beginning, like, oh, it's all these toys around. It's just it's a lovely, whimsical place. They're here to entertain. They're here to lift all the spirits. Well, if they're conscious enough to develop a certain kind of personality, probably they would get to a point where they'd say, hey, my entire existence is just pleasing my oppressors, and I'm feeling that no more. They start fermenting a little bit of revolutionary sentiment about that.
The toy soldier tells Frankie, I'll tell you the entire tragic history of Dressrosa, and we don't get to hear what it is, but next time we see them, like, Frankie's completely on board. The mission has changed from destroy the SAD factory to we need to rescue the workers inside of it before we do that. What's your take on this whole toy revolution? Does it really seem that bad for them that they want to overthrow Doflamingo?
Well, I feel like I've heard certain sentiments in my life that that a man who is not free just cannot be at peace. He's just like eats away at you. It's we could talk about objective benefits, like, you got brought over here, you got, animated into being alive. You could have just been on a shelf your whole life. You could have ended up in a landfill. There's got to be some benefits, but
is that what you think's happening here? Is that these were normal toys brought to life?
Yeah, I think so, because I don't know how else.
It's not like Toy Story where they were just always alive from the beginning. They had to be like devil fruited to be animated.
Yeah, I don't know if it would necessarily, like, cause we have, Doflamingo, he's got sort of like a puppeting sort of devil fruit. I don't think it would be like quite like that, because Doflamingo is kind of like singularly controlling certain people, like he's focused on it. It's not just an automatic sort of thing. But we also have the Tontadas with their talking about what seems like devil fruit powers, but they're calling it sorcery. Maybe there's some magical elements, perhaps. Maybe that's not them misspeaking, but maybe there truly is some actual legitimate sorcery in the mix here.
I think when Kinemon showed off his clothes powers, he also spoke about it in that way, like some magic sorcery deal. Mm-hmm. So who knows what the deal with all that is. One line towards the end of the volume here, the Tin Soldier says, "Even if these tin eyes can no longer shed tears of their own." So does that imply he used to be able to cry and now he can't?
Well, I don't know if there was any other inference besides that. Maybe that these are some kind of people that were, brought in and transformed into toys. But, well, I could also read that as in their persecution, in their subjugation, as these sort of, whimsical attractions more so than actual living beings. Like maybe that robbed them of their, I don't want to say humanity because they're toys, but it robbed them of something, their own independent expression that they can no longer have as long as they're having that Doflamingo boot, trampling over them.
Maybe like an emotional control over them so that they can't express their sorrow anymore.
Right, in order to just kind of keep the peace, keep them as the attraction that brings people into Dressrosa, that people are coming to visit and see and be amazed by, be inspired by. Can't have any, bad apples in that bunch. You gotta keep them in line, I guess.
And that's just one of the many mysteries of Dressrosa introduced here. We also, inside of the Coliseum, we haven't even mentioned this, there's a girl named Rebecca who talks to Luffy, and they're like, "Hey, see that statue? That's a guy named Kyros. According to the engravement, like as of 20 years ago, he was the gladiator champion, but nobody in the entire country has ever heard of him. They don't remember this happening. The only evidence he existed is this fucking statue." That's a strange mystery to me. Like, wait, what? Nobody knows where this statue came from, and we just leave it here? Is Kyros frozen as the statue himself, and he'll burst into life to win the tournament at the end?
Well, I thought this was interesting because I'm like, well, I mean, I feel like it's very unlikely that there's nobody older than 20 years old. I guess they just never showed up to any of his fights and just heard about him or something. But there is I think, what is it, in Group B? A masked gladiator.
Ricky! Ricky! Yeah, very suspicious. We get a lot of attention on Ricky just for him to be easily defeated.
Yeah, exactly, because I'm thinking like, oh, okay, well, he's back. Oh, it's Ricky, and he's not going to let us know who he is. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, at the very least, if it's not him, they're going to pull off. He's going to be revealed as somebody here. And then he just gets defeated with the mask on and goes, Doflamingo.
Yeah, and then for all we know, eaten by giant fighting fish, and he's just gone forever. So what the hell was the deal with that? If Kyros is such a legendary gladiator and he's in disguise as Ricky, how's he getting clowned on so easy?
Yeah, exactly. 3,000 battles without ever losing. I know we have power scaling, but yeah, I think probably after that all dissipated, my concern went back once again to like, okay, so nobody 21 years or older ever went to one of these fights, and like, so yeah, he was over there. And what did she say? Like something about nobody knows how long the statue's been here, but well, it could have been more than 20 years, I guess.
Yeah, the engraving's about 20 years ago, so. Mm. Any other mysteries that have popped up in this volume?
Well, I guess we could talk about the little trouble that Luffy ends up finding himself in here as he's watching the fights.
With Don Chin Jiao. Now, Chin Jiao, I think he was with like Sai or some other Don.
Sai and Mu, right?
Did you get the impression that they look similar to Don Krieg? Because I'm thinking of all the Dons, and I think they might have had like similar lips or something. Could this be Don Krieg's old family?
I don't know if I think I kind of just got maybe a little bit caught up in the action in this volume, and I was more like, oh yeah, what's up? Go, yeah! You know, versus like I wasn't really like digesting every character and probably the way that I maybe could have.
He introduces like fucking 80 new characters here just to have them fight in one panel and die, so I wouldn't expect any like thorough analysis, but it's just it's not important. I just think maybe, hey, I haven't heard any other Dons, and maybe there's a similar head shape involved. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what I did think. Maybe it's all the Italian stuff I've been watching lately, but when you have like three guys together and one is like obviously much larger and more imposing, at least that's what I felt with the three of them kind of put together in that first panel that they're introduced in. I kind of felt like, oh, I'm the Don, you know, type of. I don't even know exactly what that might mean because I haven't actually watched Godfather in all of my recent Italian media consumption, but I just kind of felt like it might have stood for like a boss man of sorts, which I guess maybe Don Krieg would have that too, but maybe that would be where the similar application of Don is being used in, is like because it wasn't one of the supernovas, wasn't he Don also, or am I remembering that wrong?
Gang Beige, I don't think he's a Don. He's just a mafia guy. But Chin Jiao has beef to pick with Luffy because Garp ruined him. Did we see the flashback to explain exactly how he ruined him?
I don't think I remember that, if it is there.
Yeah. So he hates Garp. He says, Garp nearly killed me years ago, and I've decided my hatred would extend at least 3 generations, which is very inconvenient for Luffy here. This was classic One Piece comedy to me, where he's got Chin Jiao on one side, Cavendish on the other, and he has to pretend that he's not Luffy because Cavendish also wants revenge against Luffy. So, fun comedic moment for me there.
Well, actually, you know what's interesting? This is probably not particularly relevant because we're talking what's going on in the actual story, and then also the cover stories. But how Chin Jiao has the 12 tattooed on his forehead. It reminds me a lot of the 18 symbol that was on the robot that was attacking Caribou.
What do these numbers mean? And why is Luffy number 0556? 56, what could that possibly mean? It means Go Moo. That's his devil fruit. Where do you want to go next with this, Eggy? Any other thoughts on Don Chin Jiao and Cavendish and their hatred of Luffy?
Well, another thing I like about Don Chin Jiao is sort of how he's got this enormous size, but he looks like the most sad, miserable old man ever, like the most droopiest face, this long beard, long mustache.
Weirdly shaped head.
Right.
Like a big fucking tumor lump on the back of his head.
And as he is finding out about Luffy and what he is, his ancestry, I don't know if he's got like, it starts giving me some, what's that, Ursula from Little Mermaid, where she's got like her tentacles are all coming out, like his beard just starts like coming out in like 20 different directions, and he's got like, he's going from this droopy, like super droopy, super miserable old man to like super angry, evil. Very, very frightening, to be honest. Once he reaches that powerful form, I think he might do like almost like a blast of energy at one point and kind of like really start powering up. And somebody says like, oh, you know, in his prime, he was worth 500 million berry bounty. I mean, that's pretty strong.
That's pretty high, yeah. And his attack seems to be like headbutt based, because when he's going to fight Luffy, he's like going head first. And I thought this was absolutely brutal. that Cavendish's idea is, okay, I'm gonna stab him in the skull. Jesus, like, what if his head was not strong enough to prevent that? You would have just stabbed him through the brain and killed him. That was insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Cavendish is really not splitting hairs here. Like, yeah, this is like what you expect from like a villain. You know, all these shows and everything, the villain has to have this big monologue, like, oh, you know, let me tell you for 20 pages about how I'm going to defeat you, and then give you time to figure out how to defeat me. Cavendish is not playing that. Cavendish, time to die right now. I don't care. I'm killing you right this second.
Yeah, even if it's against the rules of the tournament, I don't care. I have to take you down. And I think his excuse is ridiculous. Like, he was the original Supernova and he's in all the newspapers, but then Luffy and the gang stole all of his thunder in the headlines, and he wants to kill them all because of that. Like, I guess if your main motivation is being popular, it is what it is, but that's just very harsh way to deal with that.
It's extremely stupid because, oh, okay, so you want to kill him because he took your shine, which is then going to get you ejected from a tournament where you can become the greatest in the entire world and kill everybody. Also, you'd be killing Luffy in the fucking tournament anyway. So, like, you're just so impulsive and so seething and so booty blasted. You have to just, like, destroy yourself right now out of just to get some pride back for a minute instead of doing the thing that actually makes the most sense.
And we've got some dialogue. Cavendish says, "You steal popularity from others. You're the grandson of a demon." And I like Luffy's response, "Neither of those are my fault." Eggy, how many haters do you have that hate you for shit that's not even your fucking fault?
Well, you know, I like to feel that the ratio has, you know, gotten a little more even over time. Certainly for many years, they'd be like, "Oh, look at that freak." And then I opened my mouth and they could find something to actually, you know, disagree with. And that kind of, you know, gave them a little bit of footing sometimes. But, you know, many such cases, I remember my hero King Cobra, you know, maybe every now and then he would say something that was a little politically incorrect. And then some freak had to latch into one sentence for the rest of his life. There's people out there, you know, they're just like that. They can't just give you an honest answer. Hey, you look repulsive, or you look very, you know, untraditional as far as, you know, attractive features go. You're not looking like what the average person would look like. So I'm gonna start seething against you for that reason, for looking freakish. And just stand on your business.
It's more of Oda's morality, I guess, being put into the story. He's saying sins of the father, bullshit. How dare you hate me for something that somebody else did? He tied that in with the Bartolomeo peeing into the water and everybody's so offended. And yeah, I think Oda he's plugging a bunch of real opinions in here, I guess.
Yeah, you're definitely getting a lot of the politics as we get into this rule here, because they're also, it's not just like in some other series where, oh, well, they're the greatest fighters and they all want to be the greatest fighters. Like when we have the King Elisabello 2 or whatever, like, oh, this is strictly 100% tactical for our country, for our nation. We're all like, we're gonna all band together here on the field to clear out everybody who is not aligned with our national interests, and then we will just simply like step off the ring and allow him to win and progress to the next round. They just made the small mistake that they would hire some outside mercenaries, just like Rome and other countries have come to find over human history. Like, oh, let's just get this other guy in here and we'll just, you know, use him real quick to get what we want. And then, you know, the tactician ends up getting his head smashed in by the long legs people. Like, oh, actually, we want to win now, so time to die.
Eggy, I feel like we might have covered everything from this volume. Is there any important thing screaming out to you that we didn't talk about? Did Usopp do anything interesting other than be scared of a fighting fish? I guess he lies about he lies to the Tontatas at the end, but they're pretty gullible anyway.
Yeah. True. I mean, it's pretty. To be honest, when I read it, I felt like, yeah, good job, Usopp. But now that you mention it, I guess you can literally tell them anything. But I mean, it was still helpful, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it was better than not.
Hopefully, Usopp gets a better showing by the end of Dressrosa, because I'm not impressed so far. And then I guess like Brook and Nami and Momo, they're just hanging out on the ship, and somebody suspicious might be in the bathroom. But I think they could probably handle most bad guys. They got lots of powers.
Yeah, I think we kind of got since post time skip, we've really just seen them being able to handle their business. Now, I mean, I could also say this with the nature of the tournament, and also once again pulling from little bits of anecdotal things from other series and tournaments. Sometimes there are people that are like out there. They're out in the mix around the limits of the Coliseum or wherever they might be at, and plotting on something outside there. Like, oh yeah, let them go. I'll be distracted by that fight that's going on. I'm gonna go do this and try to get this from somebody. So it's possible that there's a powerful person that's roaming around that they might find themselves running into. But I don't know if we particularly have a cause to believe that at this moment. So I'm not so concerned, but there might be a reason to in the future.
Any last second predictions for the future, Eggy?
Well, I guess I want to say my mistake. I actually was wrong that about Cavendish and Luffy. Cavendish is actually in D block and Luffy's in C block, so I guess that's why they would have to.
They could fight each other in the final round.
Right, eventually. But, Don Chinchao is in C with Luffy, so if like Don would win, then that might not be as satisfying for Cavendish in that situation. But, so, just to correct that, I guess. But
are you predicting Cavendish will win D block?
Let me see here. I think yes.
He's up against what? Rebecca, some little girl.
He's up against somebody named, it's just Fighting Lion, and it's just a lion that fights. A mummy. Orlumbus, who's just like, looks like a mix of Cervantes and Columbus.
Oh, is Orlumbus a giant, I think?
Yeah, he might be. Yeah, I don't think anybody else in D block really is speaking to me in the way that somebody like Jin Chao versus Luffy would.
And you're predicting Luffy wins C block here?
I mean, just because we see, what was his name? Spartan, was that it? That Luffy gets into a little bit of a scuffle with behind the scenes off the arena floor early on, and they're like, talking about, this guy's super powerful, and nobody's gonna mess with him. Luffy just like comes over his head one time with a fist and just like punches his face like through the floor. And they're like, holy fuck, who's that? Lucy? Holy shit, this guy's crazy. What?
I like that Abdullah and Jeet are introduced as having bombed government buildings. Jesus, Oda. I think that's all I got for this one.
It's, and I could say, I guess one thing too, we don't really get any formal introduction to them, but we have CP Aegis Zero.
Oh shit, CP0 on the move.
And they look absolutely freakish. The one dude looks like the mask from the Crash Bandicoot games. They all look just very, very freakish. And, I have not been a fan of any CPs, anything in previous volumes. They've never been, so if this is like the top ultimate.
Yeah, so we're expecting these guys to be stronger than Rob Lucci?
They should be significantly stronger based on their status, I think, yeah.
I mean, even Luffy could barely put down Rob Lucci. I hope these guys don't get involved or we might be fucked. And yeah, that's gotta be it, right?
I think so, we
Caesar becomes a hot air balloon. That was fun. And that's about it.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's a new year. We started a new year with a new arc, Dressrosa, and we're one volume in. Who knows how many thousands to go?
And I'll say this, I don't think I've felt this probably any point up until this volume in these chapters, but I do want to say, like I said at the beginning, I'm a sucker for Coliseums. This is probably one that I will want to watch along with, even if the anime drags it out a lot more than what we see in the manga. Like, this is just fun. I want to see them beat each other up, and I want to see some of this action. And I guess that was definitely like the overwhelming, I think, thought in my brain as I was reading this, just like going through each fight pan, like, yeah. Oh, it's just like character development and story. Oh, okay, well, that's pretty cool. When are they gonna punch each other again? Yeah.
I should say, at the beginning, I said I was vindicated in my love of Dressrosa, and once again, the anime onlys might as well be a different race, a different species. Dressrosa in the anime is the most egregiously terrible out of all of One Piece. The episode count is much higher than the chapter count, if you could believe that.
Well, I would say yes, because I would think that they would probably stretch out each fight to not just be like 2 panels and probably make it episodes worth.
Dressrosa is in the anime longer than most anime series total.
The anime animators, they do be loving their Coliseum scenes. They could just have a lot of this going like repeat frames.
There's a certain character who has a sad flashback, and in the anime, I think it's repeated in its entirety about 15 times because they just needed filler.
Well, that reminds me a lot of something else that we're going to be reviewing tonight, so...
Yeah, we are reviewing a film called Bikini Guillotine with the director of the film, so we can let him know how much we hated it to his face. So you've probably already seen that if you're not a member of Mumkey D. Jones, because that would have came out weeks ago. But for us, it's happening in 2 hours. So wish us luck on that. Eggy, any final thoughts on this One Piece volume before we say goodbye?
Well, all I know is I'm looking forward to Luffy versus Don Chinchou. The generational seed is about to be erased. Oh, sorry, old man. You should have done something besides tattoo your face, you degenerate, delinquent old punk. Lucy's going to hit you with that 1-2 funk.
Anything to plug this week, Eggy?
Yeah, I think I have 12,999 subscribers on the Egg White YouTube channel. So if you want to push that 13K, we got streams coming soon. I'm definitely gonna try to do like a handful in a row before I go see my family for Christmas coming up here, because, hey, you know what I'm saying? I just wouldn't mind a few donations for the Christmas presents, but I will dance and rap and, you know, be a good circus animal for it, just like I always like to be. So make sure to tune in. The channel, they try to I don't know, I can't monetize it, but they sent me like literally 300 emails saying that every live stream was manually demonetized. So I'm like, I don't know what the point of that was, but whatever's going on. It's always a new fun adventure every day. I encourage you to join along and follow on Twitter at 2EggWhite, all one word.
One Piece, people.